What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive, and faster than a speeding bullet, SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. And for today's majestic and fantastic video, we are continuing with Mark Waid and Dan Mora's Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 13. But before we travel to the past, the days before Darkseid War, DC Rebirth, and Dark Crisis, if you are new to the channel, then smash that like and subscribe button. That way you guys never miss out on anything that happens on this majestic channel. So what are you waiting for? Let's raise the bar and go full on Super Saiyan. Hit that subscribe button. Thus, without further ado, let's dive into the world of Batman and Superman World's Finest, issue number 13. Alrighty folks, so our story picks up in Metropolis, the city of hopes and dreams. And here we have the world's finest, Batman and Superman, rendezvousing with their sidekicks. For you see, with the help of Jimmy Olsen, the heroes were able to solve a case where Mr. Spitzglick, I can't say his name at all, it's terrible, and Batmite were, up to no good, as is generally the case when it comes to imps from the fifth dimension. Later on, we pick up with Jimmy and Clark, who are making their way over to Perry White's office, and thus it's here where Perry informs the two that the Daily Planet has gotten tipped off about a high-profile murder case involving the death of billionaire industrialist Simon Stagg. Afterwards, we pick up with Batman and Robin driving towards the Batcave. However, it's here where Alfred informs them of Stagg's murder. And fun fact, apparently Bruce was supposed to have a meeting with the billionaire tomorrow afternoon to discuss business and whatnot. And so because he's the world's greatest detective, Batman turns the car around and heads over to the crime scene. Now, Robin, being the sidekick, is asking questions like, hey, I know we're supposed to solve crimes and whatnot, but given the fact this happened over Metropolis, isn't this more of a Superman job? What Robin is saying is true. If something happens in Gotham, Batman takes care of it. And if something happens in Metropolis, Superman takes care of it. However, both Bruce and Clark have a unique interest when it comes to Stagg. More specifically, an interest in one of his employees. Picking up with Clark and Jimmy, who are making their way over towards the crime scene, Clark begins to tell the story about Rex Mason, who back in the day used to be the adventurer that fell madly in love with Stagg's daughter, Sapphire. But Stagg, being internally petty, thought Mason was beneath her, and so Stagg showed his disapproval in the most passive-aggressive way possible by arranging for Mason to be killed off. Therefore, Stagg hired Mason for millions of dollars to unearth an artifact called the Orb of Ra from the last tomb of a pharaoh, and ordered his prehistoric caveman-turned-servant, Java, to accompany Mason on the mission. But within the tomb, Mason learned of the secret of the orb, which revealed that the artifact had been fashioned from a mysterious radioactive meteor buried somewhere within the heart of the pyramid. However, Java, because he's basic and only wants to impress Stagg, blindsided Mason and threw him deeper into the pyramid, unknowingly driving Mason dangerously close to the meteor. Now, although it didn't kill him, it didn't mean that Mason left unscarred, because from there, having been exposed to the meteor, the radiation tore the muscle from his bones and burned away his flesh, only for him to eventually wake up and find himself horribly disfigured. Legit, he looks terrible. But unfortunately, Mason was still a lucky man because Sapphire loved him regardless. Whether he was hot and sexy or the equivalent to a human soup, she loved him. But wait, there's more. For you see, within Mason's soul, something extraordinary happened. With being exposed to the energy by the ancient meteor, Mason gained the ability to call upon forth any element at will. He could also combine elements into compounds. Basically, he could shapeshift. Thus, Rex Mason became Metamorpho. Thus, we learn that Metamorpho is the guy both Clark and Bruce want to talk to. Because not only is Mason a fellow superhero, because he loves Sapphire, Mason decided for the good of their love that he would continue to work for her father, despite the fact that, he tried to kill him. And so it begs the question, knowing that Metamorpho hated Stagg, is he a suspect? Now, after the police refuse Clark and Jimmy from entering the crime scene, Jimmy doesn't want to give up easily. Plus, he wants to share the byline of the story with Clark. And so Jimmy takes off in order to look for potential suspects, especially those who would benefit the most from Stagg's murder. Meanwhile, the Man of Steel flies into Stagg's hotel room through the window to meet up with Batman and Robin, who are also investigating the crime scene. The Dark Knight lets him know that Stagg's murder has Metropolis police stumped, given it's a classic locked room type of mystery. But one thing is for certain, though they don't want to admit it, both Superman and Batman know that Mason had a motive if he were the person who wanted to kill Stagg. Picking up at the Egyptian wing of Metropolis History Museum, we see a trio of thieves breaking in with Quakemaster tech to steal millions of dollars of artifacts, but their attempt is thwarted by Rex Mason, a.k.a. Metamorpho. However, with the arrival of both the Dark Knight and the Man of Steel, one of the thieves escapes and proceeds to activate his Quake Blaster, which in turn causes a giant earthquake, thus bringing down the entire museum in the process. Now, fortunately, no one is hurt, and so while Superman handles damage control, the Dark Knight and Metamorpho have themselves a conversation. Elsewhere, we pick up with Jimmy Olsen, who we see is paying a visit to Sapphire Stag, and it's here where she provides Jimmy with her father's files. Basically, she's hoping that Jimmy and Superman can help solve the case, but before their conversation can continue, Java, Stag's right-hand man, enters the room and throws Jimmy outside. Again, Java is basically that guy who can't read social cues. Picking up with Batman, breaking the news of Stag's murder to Metamorpho, we see that the information comes as a surprise to Mason. But aside from worrying about Sapphire, Mason doesn't seem terribly upset, which strikes Batman to be somewhat suspicious because what's more odd is the fact that Mason didn't even ask who killed Stag. So in light of their long friendship, Bruce lets Mason know that he needs him to account for where he was this afternoon. But despite the fact that Mason is claiming that he went floating around the city to sightsee, it's pretty obvious that Bruce doesn't believe him. And the fact that Batman is calling him a suspect angers Metamorpho. So yeah, tension is building. With Batman walking off, he meets up with Superman on a rooftop outside a museum. And it's here where Bruce reveals that the poison that was used to kill Stag is a banned substance that's rare and hard to procure. But believe it or not, Metamorpho could simply generate it due to his powers. Now, Superman believes that murdering Stag just doesn't sound like something Mason would do, but Bruce reminds Clark how evil and manipulative Stag could be, remarking that Stag once cost Wayne Enterprises millions of dollars by interfering in deals that could have helped the people of Gotham, simply because Bruce Wayne defeated him in tennis once. Again, Stag is very, very petty. Picking up sometime later, we see Jimmy Olsen going through Stag's files, and after doing some digging and reporting here and there and asking the curator questions about the body, Jimmy writes up a report. However, Clark is utterly shocked to read the first draft of Jimmy's story. Like, dude, you clearly missed something here because no way in any hell would Bruce Wayne be the one to have murdered Simon Stagg. And that, folks, was the end of Batman Superman World's Finest, issue number 13. And thank you guys for checking out my video, as it truly, truly means the world to me. Once more, we have ourselves another fantastic issue, featuring DC's World's Finest. What I like about the issue is how Mark Waid, being the expert DC that he is, I love how he brings in a D-list superhero like Metamorpho, a character that most people don't know, and uses him in a way which helps resonate his character with the readers. It adds an understanding that most people don't have, and we understand why Metamorpho came to be, and why he's being suspected into killing Simon Stagg. Another thing I liked about this issue is how the book points out differences between Batman and Superman. Superman being the guy more willing to give people the benefit of the doubt, whereas Batman is more like, nope, this guy killed Stagg, 100%, I'm cynical. And so it's really cool to see the difference between these major pop culture icons and how they differ when it comes to detective work. So yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer of words, SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on this issue? Are you guys excited for issue number 14? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity go.